I'll never stop making iDubbbz videos, will I? I'm sure that by now, most of you know that Ian recently brought back his Content Cop series. There was a lot of reaction to it initially when people saw his Twitter announcement, but most of them were pretty skeptical about how it would turn out. Pretty much nobody was excited to see this return, but I couldn't help but be intrigued. Ian hadn't dropped an episode since October of 2017, and he's changed a lot since then. In his I Missed the Old iDubbbz video, he apologized for how he made the Content Cop videos, and even unlisted every single one of them. So he would have had to go at making this with a completely different angle. Plus, there were all sorts of theories about who it could be about. The biggest guesses were Hassan Piker, Ethan Klein, Asmongold, and himself. The Ethan one was the least expected out of the four, however, considering their long history together. Everyone thought that Ian was just gonna make a video criticizing his old content. Whatever it was gonna be though, I just hoped that it would be entertaining. I haven't been a fan of Ian's content for a while now, as you guys all know. I've made multiple videos about it, so I thought that the Content Cop was gonna be bad, but I was still hoping that Ian would pull at least something off and actually make a special video. But once it actually came out, it cemented a single fact in my mind. iDubbbz is still unfunny. First off, the video target ended up being H3 after all. It wasn't really all that shocking to me, since Ethan basically severed all ties with Ian a month prior, but it was still surreal to see considering how close they seemed back in 2016. It makes watching videos like a legit food review funny to watch in retrospect. It was also funny watching everyone on Twitter essentially be shocked when the video ended up being on Ethan. I get that not everyone is caught up with the H3 podcast or this dumb feud, but I still thought it wasn't all that surprising. But the target of the video is pretty much the only thing that's interesting about it. We start off the video with this little opening skit of Ian watching the H3 podcast where he looks grossed out at what he's hearing. He then picks up the cop outfit and runs into this little field. That's a fine enough intro in itself. Could have been a little bit more interesting, but every Content Cop intro was similar to this, so there's not much to complain about. Just some nitpicks here and there. But after this, we get this cringy Hassan Piker skit. Essentially, what happens is that Hassan comes on and says that Ethan was completely right about what he said in this content nuke video, and praised Ethan more and more until he started repeating the phrase, "Wake up, Ethan." Eventually, iDubbbz appears, along with a bunch of people that Ethan has had feuds with over the past year, where they end up doing stuff like conga lines and Fortnite dances. Truly the peak of entertainment. I said that Ian needed his confidence back in previous videos to get his humor to land. I thought that he could pick himself back up if he just got himself out of that mindset that he isn't able to entertain people like he mentioned in the I Missed the Old iDubbbz video. But now I just think that he isn't funny at all anymore, even when he tries. And that's just a shame when this guy was one of my favorite YouTubers, even after he was trying to phase out edgy content in 2019. What I saw at this point wasn't great, sure, but I thought that maybe the actual content of the video would be better, and to be honest, at a certain point, I stopped caring at all. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is a pretty boring video, and by far the least engaging Content Cop video that's ever been made. I understand if Ian wanted to play this mostly straight and be serious, but if you were gonna do that, don't label it as Content Cop. One of the main staples of the series was its comedic value, whether it was with skits, jokes, etc. And this video seems to be completely stripped of those. It's very bizarre. Plain and simple, this is not a Content Cop. It may have the same name, but that's about it. This is one of his iDubbbz complains videos stretched out to an hour long. Say what you want about H3's content nuke and the points he makes in it, but that was at least an entertaining video to watch. It legitimately felt like old H3 again. And for those of you who'd call me biased, I don't like either of these guys, okay? It's just a matter of who sucks less at a given moment. And in terms of entertainment, that's Ethan. Also, it feels like Ian's energy is just completely gone, man. Ian has never been some high energy YouTuber, but for fuck's sake, man, at least it felt like he used to care about the videos he makes. He seems like he's bored the entire video. It's like he's only doing it to defend himself from Ethan and no other reason. And that's something I should get into. A lot of the points in this video center around Ian and Ethan's friendship falling apart and their private issues. And while there isn't an inherent issue with this, it honestly does feel way too personal for a video like this. You could argue that every Content Cop is personal to an extent, and I'd agree with that, but none of them were ever centered around a friendship falling apart. And I think that's what makes this one different to me. A lot of it seems more focused on that instead of actually criticizing Ethan for the many mistakes he's made throughout his career. Whereas every other Content Cop wasn't mainly focused on any petty personal trauma. With the exception of the Tana video, though that one had more of a point to it than that, they were mostly just going through the many mistakes that someone made throughout their career, so it just felt off to me. That's not to say that every critique that Ian made in the video was like this. He had much more to say than that. It wasn't just him versus Ethan the video, but still, I wish less of a focus was on that. I also wish that I could recall more of what I watched from the video, but I really can't. The first time that I clicked on the video, I was watching it with a few friends, and we could only sit through about 20 minutes of it before we got bored and did something else. I eventually watched the rest of it, but I was basically just forcing myself to. I know I'm basically repeating myself at this point, but I feel like it needs to be stated again. This video was such a painful thing to get through, and I feel like an hour of my life was completely wasted. This proved to me that the whole people only hate iDubbbz because he's not edgy anymore narrative is just completely wrong. Some people just want to see that aspect of him, don't get me wrong. It's not like people pulled that idea out of thin air or anything, but I think that the majority of it nowadays is that watching paint dry would be better for my brain than listening to him drone on and on and on about whatever he does in his videos. But anyways, the last major point I want to add here is about the end portion of Ian's video. For some reason, he got most of the major YouTubers or streamers that Ethan was fighting with to say a couple good things about him, and this was under the guise of trying to be fair to him. I really don't know what Ian was trying to accomplish here. I get that a commentary video isn't supposed to be malicious towards someone, but I don't think it's supposed to be nice to them either. Also, you can be fair and charitable in a video without sprinkling these random compliments in it. You could just show enough context for each clip or situation you talk about and give them the benefit of the doubt on certain points. I'd call that being fair and charitable. Maybe me and Ian would disagree on that point, but that's just what I think. So yeah, that's the content cop in a nutshell. It'll probably be the last iDubbbz video I ever watch, unless he makes another documentary or something. Ian, I know a lot of your former fan base doesn't like those, but make more documentaries. I feel like you could win back a lot of people, and they'd be better than this at least. And with that, I'm done with this video. Thanks for watching. I'll have another video out in a few days. Usually I don't have stuff prepared like this, but I got lucky this time. My social media accounts will be in the description below, and with that, I'll be taking my leave. Oh yeah, one last thing. #FLM.